It's interesting. I heard last week was mother on my mind, and this week is leaving on my mind. I'm going to ask one or two of you to really tell me what, when you hear this topic, leaving on my mind, what comes to your mind?
Well, it says leaving, so I guess somebody wants to leave.
Okay, somebody wants to leave. Hmm. Sounds like
Yes.
that to me too.
Yeah, the relationship is going sour or something, or somebody's not satisfied and they're ready to leave.
Um, Leaving on my mind could be not ready to leave, could be the relationship has got to a point where I'm starting to think about it. Could be
Okay.
just that. Yep, I'm just starting to think about it as a possibility. So leaving on my mind is would fit that also, I think.
So it could be a case where I'm ready to leave and it's on my mind. Yeah. Or it could be that, things are really not going the way that I really feel comfortable enough or I feel happy enough. And I really am thinking about leaving. But wherever it comes, whatever point it is at, it is really not a desirable point. And over the past months or weeks, yeah, past months, I should say, I know that we have done quite a number of sessions and we look at, how to strengthen the relationship, how to go fishing, how to make yourself ready for relationship, how to make yourself ready for marriage. And we have looked at all the good side. And it sounds like tonight I saw the teary face emoji, so it sounds like it's really not such a good thing at all. And it is not a good thing when we get to that point where it's leaving on our mind. And relationships are different, and so no two relationships are actually the same. But the reasons why people leave may actually be similar. And I think I'm going to really start the discussion tonight by asking you, based on your own observations, probably your research or anecdotally, what are some of the reasons that people give when they think of leaving their relationships, leaving their marriage? And some may actually have left already. What are the reasons they give why they would have left or they are thinking of leaving?
Well, leaving, I actually left because of cheating. You know, you make that pledge, the marriage vows, and you pledge to forsake all others and stick to your partner and to love and all that goody goody stuff. And then cheating,
Mm,
infidelity.
mhm, mhm.
Leaving was more than on my mind. It happened.
Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Let's hear from, I think it's Erica.
Okay. Boy, I have seen so many, I've heard so many bad stories. But
Mhm,
what I find is that you have some, let me use the females. Some females might leave because they think that, well, yeah, it's like a male might get too laid back. At the start you might have seen something that looked positive, but after a while, they feel that the man has got so comfortable. He's like, he has no reason to exert himself or anything. So he's very laid back. The pressures are now on that female. And she probably reaches a point where she cannot deal with the pressure. So that laid back attitude of some of the men. And there's another thing that I have seen too, where sometimes you might down marry down, and it's not any discrimination, but sometimes you find that after a while you really don't have enough interest in common interest, and it becomes a struggle for one person. So I guess there might be a reaching out for somebody who you can communicate with, and it's more at your level. So it can be a strain, and I guess they just feel like it makes no sense. Things are not improving. So generally speaking, they don't see where the situation is improving and become intolerant.
Okay, thank you so much, Erica. And the next hand is Tanisha.
Some people, good night, everyone. Some people might leave for peace of mind because a lot of time we're in marriages or relationship, and after a while it becomes heavy and it becomes burdensome, and it's like you're searching for that great peace that you actually can't find because people change, and over time you start seeing behavior in the other person that you've never seen before because they become very comfortable. So now it's the norm to do what they don't normally do around you. So now that you see all the flaws and all, and there's no peace, the environment become toxic, and you need that breather. So you're saying that, oh, how can I save my mental health, and how can I save myself from drowning? And
Mm,
sometimes there's no other option than to leave. Some
okay,
might stay and try and work through it through counseling and all of that, but sometimes it's too much. That's my
okay.
take.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. What I'm hearing from you is that well, it sounds to me like what you're saying is that you're married to someone and you did not know enough about them, and then you see some behaviors that you really did not expect, and those behaviors can be quite, frightening for you, and kind of challenge your mental well-being. And so the way out is to leave as far as the individual concerned, you know, that individual is concerned. Did I get you correctly?
Yeah, some of it is me and some of it is not me. It's based on what I know about other persons.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you. And I appreciate that.
no problem.
This is something I really want to share with you guys. There are times when people say they want to leave and they, things can be patched up. I guess you're probably going to come up with that in your discussion. But when I was in a terrible situation in my first marriage, I felt like I would just be crying every day. I would talk to a total stranger because I'm so hurt and I want to. That's how I vent. I was talking to this lady and she says, "Oh, I'm leaving too. I'm leaving my husband. I'm tired of." But what is she leaving her husband for? Can you believe he lost his job and he didn't get a job for a long time? And she said, "Oh, he's not providing and whatever." And long after we had that discussion, we were talking, and she eventually told me what her husband does. And I said, I know him. He drives all the way from Kingston to St. Anne to repair my machine. So I said,
Wow.
I know him. I said, oh, that was shocking. I was like, oh, he's trying though. I told her, I know who he is, and I see him trying. And I said, I don't think that's a good enough reason for all the things I have been through and I've seen other women go through. That's not a good enough reason to leave your husband. And you seem like a really nice person, from what I saw. But sometimes we have reasons that are not good enough reasons, not biblical, not, you know. So I know you're probably gonna bring that up somehow in your discussion, and some of us are just not tolerant, if you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ingrid. And that was indeed very important too. Um, and I, did a little bit of research, and I saw this research that was done by Forbes, and this was done in 2018, and they gave the biggest factors for getting a divorce. Um, so 43%, there are reasons for wanting a divorce or for getting a divorce was lack of family support. So what I got from that is that the family on either side did not really support the marriage, did not support the relationship, and with the hectic life that most of us live now, it's really hard to do it single-handedly. I was going to say unicellularly, but when we have all the challenges and there's no one to turn to, there's no support, sometimes it can become overwhelming. The 34%, this was the second factor that the Forbes advisor found in their survey, was infidelity. That's what you mentioned, the first thing you mentioned, Ingrid. Third on the list, with 31%, was lack of compatibility. And fourth was lack of intimacy. Fifth, that was with 31%. With 31% as well, was too much conflict or arguing. Then 24% of them was financial stress. Next was lack of commitment. And interestingly, 20% had parenting differences. 10% said they married too young. 6% showed opposing values or morals. 3% cited substance abuse. And 2% cited domestic violence, both physical and emotional. And 1% cited pursuing different lifestyles. I don't know what are your views on this, and do you think that this is something that would be also what we'd find in our Jamaican setting? I know it's not just Jamaican. Wayne is not a Jamaican, but I think the rest of us are Jamaicans. But would the lack of family support be the top of our list, or do you think it's the infidelity that would be on the top of our list?
Well, Marlene, I was a little bit surprised by those statistics because when I look at what was the 1%, they pursuing different lifestyle. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Right.
I'm just saying, for the most part, people pursue different lifestyles, and the thing is, what I look at what that can do. People go their separate ways, they do their different things, and we do know that the more you have, the more interest you have, is the more time you're going to be spending with each other and all that. So that 1% seemed a little bit low to me. It seemed a little bit low because it's one of the things that we have been emphasizing. The more you can have things in common, and I think they probably don't even recognize how much they're pursuing different interests. It's really affecting the family. So they put it at 1% because they feel that, well, it's the norm for you to do that. And really and truly, that's what we see around us. You go to A and I go to Z, but we should still be living together. And the truth is that we're not finding enough time. So that 1% there, as they have it, to me, it is creating a lot of problems because husbands and wives are not seeing each other enough. And that will lead to other problems. So I don't agree with that. Well, what should I say? I can't say I don't agree because that's a poll.
Yeah.
But I think it has a greater impact on the marriage than what is recorded there.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Because I was a little bit surprised that at their findings, but I was quite aware that this is a different kind of society from our local society here. But I'm sure that there are some things that we will share anyway. Well, anyway, I did some further research and I found that there were some major things which I think were also in that list and that you have also pointed out as being reasons for why people have leaving on their mind. And one of the big ones is infidelity, of course, or an extramarital affair, the same thing we call unfaithfulness. And another big reason was people don't feel appreciated. And I think, well, it kind of wasn't said directly by you, but it's somehow wrapped up in the different reasons that you gave. Something else that I found as well that was really seemed to be common is the lack of emotional connection. Boredom was another big one, and too much negativity that chips away at the relationship. Lots of physical intimacy. Yeah, those were what I found to be major reasons why people um, leave their relationships or leave their marriage. So when it comes on to the infidelity or the extramarital affair, it's really a situation where, we know what unfaithfulness is, and it is said to be the most common reason why people leave their relationships. Initially, the straying partner will either deny, avoid, or challenge the obvious truth. But, in a case where, unless the affair is really ongoing for a very long time, couples usually choose to make the relationship work. However, the loss of trust and can really severely impair the the outcome of this. So I want to pause here just to look at infidelity is the biggest cause of affair and of breakup. People are aware of this. What then would lead to people really getting into extramarital affairs?
If I may speak of it from a personal standpoint, it's something that eats away the propensity and need to be able to love the other person and develop a companionship and compassion and intimacy. Negativity is something that seriously erodes a relationship, and I can hardly think of anything else that would keep the mind occupied with leaving. Negativity, oh my goodness. If I may give an advice as well, that is something to forbid, to not to entertain any at all.
Just to say, Ted, it is true that negativity is really one of the worst things, and I'm really glad for these sessions because that was one of the things that was brought out, that we should avoid the negativity. And so I try very much to stay away from that, because I don't want it in my relationship. So it is true. However, as Marlene asked about the infidelity, I don't know how, let's say a woman, because when you talk about the infidelity, I'm going to throw most of it at the men now. But I don't know how a woman can be positive or speak positively to a man when he gets himself involved with somebody else, and especially if he makes it known to her. Because it's one of the things that I've said. I heard this from somebody a long time, and I have come to accept it. If my husband chooses to go out there and gets into another relationship, don't come to me and tell me about it and apologize to me. It is your problem. I am not interested in hearing about it. And I'm dead serious about that. So let it be your problem. If you want me to stay positive in the relationship, let that stay in your head. You need to deal with that, you and God. All right? But don't get me involved in that. But that is one of the, to me, that they talk about some sin worse than others. I'm not here to categorize sins, but I'm just saying it has a very far-reaching effect, and it is very hard for a woman to stay positive when she now becomes uncertain of herself, because the effect of that thing on a woman. She's gonna start feeling, I'm not good enough for this man. Oh, this other woman has something that I don't have, and etc. And you make your brain go wild. So I don't know, Ted. It is, as I said, the statement is true that negativity is one of the worst things. It's really a killer. But how do you remain positive when there's infidelity?
Okay, and that's a very good question. And I think I'm going to come right back to that question after I take Wayne's hand.
One of the things I think leads to infidelity is laziness. You think, well, how can that apply? Well, there's obviously problems in the marriage. If there's somebody to go searching somewhere else, there's problems in the marriage. So that has to be the first priority. And if somebody's too lazy to do the work, because it involves work and communication, open communication, possibly counseling, and rather than that, just go and find somebody else. What? Oh, no, it's just lazy. And so whether it's the man or the woman, most cases the man, I think, a bit more testosterone running through the veins of men than women. And they go and do that instead of just work. Find out what the problem is. It'll be him. Most cases it's him anyway. And he just has to find out from his wife what it is. If there's changes that need to be made or whatever, love her more, be softer with her, communicate better, whatever it is. And that does take work. So let's not be lazy, but do the work, mend the bridge, and be happy ever after.
Yes. Thank you for that, Wayne. And I do agree with you, because when I looked at the list and I saw that infidelity was the main cause, the first thing that came to my mind is infidelity means that you have already made up your mind to leave. You are going out, and infidelity is not the cause of the breakup or the cause of the breakdown in the relationship. There is something else that would have led to that infidelity in the first place. So what is it? So that is what we really need to work on. So I'm fully in agreement with you. Some of the reasons given why people, go into other relationships, because when you step into another relationship, you already have leaving on your mind, as I said. Number one, they don't feel appreciated. And so the emotional resources of a relationship need to be spent, and it need to be replenished. The things that mattered at the start of the relationship or the start of the marriage still matter and will always matter. So whatever it is that you were doing to make the person feel appreciated, you still need to be doing that, and you will still need to be doing that for the rest of the time that you really want the relationship to continue, or want the relationship to thrive. Of course, sometimes we know that life becomes busy, life becomes hectic, and we sometimes take our partners for granted. So we have to now make the effort, to make our partner feel appreciated. So I think I will pause here, and I hope Erica has a point on that, to look at what are some of the things that we can do to make our partners feel more appreciated.
Initially, I put up my hand because I wanted to, even point out that there are some times when infidelity happens, and it's coming from that observation that I made about the reasons why people leave, or they have leaving on their minds. Because I said, you see, this busy lifestyle that we have, it's really, sometimes a person just wants to chill. It's no evil intention. And if you have that personality where you just want to interact with people, but your partner is never there, because the reality is, in Jamaica right now, maybe worldwide, you have like women, they're working, they're studying, So hardly any time, even for the family. The man will always be a man. And so he finds his form of relaxation. These are things that I actually see happen before my eyes, and I know that it must, affect the relationship in a very serious way. So I know that the time that should be spent with the family, if it's not spent there, then wrong place, wrong time, as they would call it. Those little things can happen, little mishaps. But going to the second part of what you're saying now, in terms of how you can really prevent that sort of thing. Well, as I said, the more things you can do together, the more you can actually show. And one of the things that we had mentioned some time ago, the things that you used to appreciate, you used to show appreciation for the man opening the car door for you. Say thank you. Don't take him for granted. Do little niceties. Those things are still relevant. They are still appreciated. So many times, just those kind things, the little surprises and all those things, they're absent, and we make excuses that we don't have the time, and he should understand, or she should understand. So as Wayne said, a lot of laziness, we're not putting enough in our relationships. So I think if we go back to the place where we think about what makes the person happy and start doing those little things one day at a time, one at a time. You don't have to crowd yourself with everything, but make it a habit of doing kindness to your partner. And I think that will kind of hold off the leaving. But nobody's running away from love. As far as I know, nobody runs away from love.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So nobody runs away from love. And one of the things that you have pointed out, Erica, is that we are very busy. It's a very hectic lifestyle that we do live. But guess what? When we were dating, probably not me and you, we are kind of, we did that so many years ago. But even for the younger folk, when you are dating, you are still living that kind of busy lifestyle. But there were things that you would have done, and you found the time, you found the space, the energy, the resources to fill that in. And after you get married and 2 years, 3 years have passed, that you drop your guard and you start to take the person for granted. So what I really am asking now, what are some of the things that we can really do to make our partner feel appreciated in spite of us being busy? Because I don't think the busyness is going to go away overnight. And some of the things that we can actually do is, as Don says, notice the little things. Don't take anything for granted, but just recognize the little things when they are done. Say thank you often. Yeah, every day you say thank you. Tell them that they are wonderful. You're beautiful. You're very special to me. You are amazing. Just say wonderful things. Acknowledge what you love, even if it's just the way they look in a simple shirt. So they put on something and they look good. Just say, you look very nice. You look good. I like this, And listen with your eyes. So anything that you see, you pay attention, you listen attentively. And one of the things that I find a big turn off, and I'm sure that is for so many other persons, is when I'm speaking with somebody and they are on their phones. Mm-hmm. And I've said 5 things and you have not heard it yet. And I said, did you hear what I said? What did I say again? No. I feel like I'm finished talking there. We must learn to listen and listen attentively. Do something special for that person. Even simple, make them a cup of tea in the morning. They like the tea, whatever tea they like, before they come out. If it's your wife, before she even gets up to make breakfast, bring her a cup of tea or something that she likes. Say good morning or good night as though it's good, because of them. Say it as if, it's somebody you're seeing for the first time. be affectionate. Be affectionate in every way. Praise them or compliment them in public. Send a little message, send a little text. I miss you today. I want to see you. I long to see you. Um, and just be affectionate. Do what when you're touching them, it's not a quick slap and you're rushing through the door and it's like, you know, you're going through the motion that you know you're supposed to do something, but you really don't have the time to do it. So even if you really don't have the time, make it seem like I'm willing to spend the whole morning with you, even though I'm hurrying. And there are other things that I'm sure that can make the person feel appreciated. One of the things that I know that really make the person feel appreciated too is really validating their feelings. So if someone come and say, boy, I really feel so tired, don't tell them, say, are you taking on too much? Or, you know, they did tell you say something or another. You can acknowledge and say that, boy, I know you must be tired. It's a lot that you have been doing. Validate what they are feeling. And if they say they feel angry about something that you said, don't say, but young woman, you know say you're wrong, so I don't want you bother me. Just say, yeah, I could understand, you being angry. Let's talk about it. Or probably when you hear how she heard it, you may say, I would have been angry if I heard it that way. But that was not what I meant, or something, whatever. But learn to validate people's feeling. It is something that we don't practice a lot in our culture, but it is something that is very important for making people feel appreciated.
All right,
Yeah.
two things. And quickly, I'm going to share the nicer part first. My Eric is my present husband, and I tell you, the little things we do is kind of really, really so special, and it feels like you say, young love when you're my husband kisses me every morning before he goes to work. And I tell him I love you, be safe. Those things are so special. It means a lot. I think we need to probably do more little date nights, and we do that on a Saturday night too, but not too much and not nothing really special. Also, when he buys a gift card for me, a birthday card or a Mother's Day card, I'm like, did you spend a few hours to buy these cards, to choose these cards? And he says, yes, I do. I find a card that speaks to what Ingrid is. And man, I feel special when I read those cards. And I think from my past experience now, you could say with my ex-husband the things that you can do and do and do, and some men still doesn't see that, hey, I can't afford to lose this woman. I will not cheat. I will give up cheating. I was sharing with my friend, she's on the line now to listening in. I was sharing with her and her husband just last night how I set up this bubble bath with champagne and candlelights. And we had a big Jetta tub in our new house. And I made a special dinner, and it was just me and him alone at home. And that ex-husband of mine, he did not follow through with the rest of it that I had intention for. He told me I gave him too much food to eat and he was tired. So we are all adults here, so I guess we can laugh at that if you understand what I was working on. Okay, so you have all these women out there, and I want to see if I can do something different to entice you. And whoa, I was ashamed. I was feeling terrible after all the dinner and the bubble bath and the champagne, and I was disappointed. So sometimes these men, you can't stop them. My brother told me once that a man like that man, they need five different women. They need the golden trophy wife at home to, of course, represent them when they go out, do certain things. They need a sweetheart out in the street. They need a whore. I can't remember the other two. I'm here with him now. I'm gonna ask him what if he can remember. But I tell you, sometimes you do and you do, and it still never happens the way. Eventually, one pastor told me one time, he was always praying with me. He said, "You chose the wrong partner." And a counselor told me that too. You just chose the wrong man. That could be a joke, guys. I don't know. We can all laugh at that.
Well, you know, as Don said earlier, that, you know, one of the reasons is low self-esteem with the person. And so if the person has low self-esteem, and they came into the relationship with low self-esteem, then, you know, they will have to get some work done on themselves. It might not be you who is going to do that work. Of course, you can help, but they might need some additional help. They might need some professional help, but they have to come to a place where they recognize that they need some help in terms of building their own self-esteem. And so the next reason that we have, I'm looking at the time, the next reason that we have for people having leaving on their mind is that there is no emotional connection. So what in this case, the friendship has gone. And in some cases, or perhaps there was no friendship there in the very beginning. In one session before, we did say that it was important um, for a friendship to exist before you actually get into a marriage. And I think that is important because there needs to be that, you know, some chemistry. There needs to be something, some foundation on which the marriage is going to be built. And if you had that foundation before and you find the foundation kind of, you know, shaking a little bit, there are things that you can do. And some of the things that you can do, you can make sure that you spend some time together regularly, talk about regularly. Call the person just for the sake of calling them, even if you're at work and you're busy, or you know, in between your appointments, you just call them. Hi, just checking on you. How are you? How is your day going? I miss you. I appreciated XYZ. Something you can do. Ask about their day and listen for the answer. One of the things that we do sometimes is that, you know, not just in our intimate relationships, but even with persons on the road, sometimes they say, "How you doing?" And you don't really wait to hear what they have to say. But in our relationships, if you ask somebody about their day, you be prepared to take the time to stand up and listen, sit down and listen, and even find some time to really empathize if they really talk about their day not being so good. Notice when they are upset. So you have to now become more emotionally intelligent, where you can not only know when you are upset, but also recognize when they are upset. Can you know when your partner is upset? Because not everybody, when they're upset, is going to be shouting and slamming door. And in fact, we prefer if they don't do that. But you have to now start to build that kind of relationship with your partner where you are able to read them, read the body language. So you notice when they are upset, you notice when they are happy, and you comment or act accordingly. If they are upset, you recognize, and you make it known that, okay, I notice, you know, you are not, you know, your usual self this morning. It seems like you're not feeling so well. Can we talk about it? You know, notice when they are happy. Listen when they talk. Listen. And I keep saying listening, you know, because listening is so important. It's much more important than even talking. That's why I think we have 2 ears and one mouth. Just because something doesn't seem important to you doesn't mean it isn't important to the other person. So no, again, you're going to observe and you're going to know what is important to them. And when they say that something is important, even if it seems trivial to you, don't trivialize it. It is important to them. Acknowledge what you are feeling and what they are feeling. Laugh at yourselves and laugh with each other. I was speaking with a young man recently, and one of the things that he has leaving on his mind, and one of the things he said, Miss, there isn't even anything to laugh about. We don't laugh, we just walk past each other. We don't have nothing to laugh about. So, laugh, laugh, laugh at yourself, laugh at each other. Know what is happening in their world, and don't just assume that you do so it's going to be talking. Be responsive. When the world is driving them crazy, be the soft place. Be that soft, cushiony place for them to find support. And of course, you yourself need to be vulnerable. Open up, open up to your partner, and let your partner be there for you too. Relationships grow when people know that you can be as vulnerable as they are. So don't pretend that you know everything. I was going to say, even if you do, but really none of us know everything. So I know, sometimes, and I'm going to say the men is not really finger pointing, but many times the men think that they have the answers to all of the things, and they just want to tell their wives what to do, how to fix this, how to fix that. But sometimes just being a listening ear is all that she really needs. Yes, Ted, your hand is up. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I like those tips, Marlene. Very important. They make sometimes we might think of them as small, but they make very large input and imprint on the relationship. Because I find that when your heart is in it and you are really interested in knowing the other person's feelings and addressing them accordingly, you will do whatever you can to make that person feel the connection and feel that you are interested in her. Not just when she's happy, but when she's down, when she's moody, whatever the situation is, you always want to do something to make the situation gain momentum. So one of my favorites is to call her at work or if she's at home relaxing, wherever, to call and say, I just called to say I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Love that. Okay. And another reason that was given was that of boredom. And Don also underscored that. So the relationship gets into a rut that it doesn't seem to get out of. Things just, not going anywhere. And one or both parties just feel like, hmm, can't bother with this thing. It just not have no taste. It just sours us up. And they may be tempted to go somewhere else where they can get a little excitement. So, is there any suggestion from the group as to what persons can do to either prevent the boredom, or if you're already in a state of boredom, what to do to get out of it, to get the relationship into a little place of excitement? Yes,
Yeah.
go right
I
ahead.
would say identify what the real problem is and be reasonable in your discussions, because sometimes when you have these kind of discussions, it just doesn't go off well. It's just a blame game. One person say this, the other person say, "Oh no, that's you," and the blame game just goes on, and then nobody acknowledging their wrongs. So acknowledge where your faults are, and try to really mend things, and pray about it. I always say the key thing about keeping a relationship together is to have God in the midst of it, and pray about the things that are the challenges that you might have, and really, really acknowledge each other's faults. That's then you plan your little date nights like you're starting all over, and it can happen. It can
Yeah.
happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Some of the answers given already would kind of address this, but just to be specific, when you're bored, one of the most favorite words of young people nowadays is "I'm bored," and they know what to do when they're bored. They find something to unbore themselves, to coin a word, right? So if we find, and you see, when we recognize what the problem is, very often when we're bored, we tend to see our partners as the person who is boring, the person who is not making me feel excited. And so I go find something else to get some excitement. But the partner is probably just as bored as I am. And so we've got to find ways now to make each other, so spring surprises. Okay, I'm bored. Let me see, what kind of surprise can I spring on her? What kind of trick can I play on her? You know, be mischievous, that's okay. Play some little tricks on each other, as long as it's not going to cause heart attacks or anything like that. Surprises, not only romantic surprises, but just things to make them feel like there's a little excitement in the house or when you're going out, you know. Be creative. It doesn't only mean you have to take her out on a date either. There are so many things we can do. In the old days, when we didn't have smartphones and smart laptops and smart houses and smart cars, we had board games. You go and you sit down and play Uno, or you play whatever card games. You played Monopoly, you play Scrabble. We can still do things like that. Domino, whatever it is, you can say, hey, let's sit down and play a game of domino, or let's play some Ludo, or whatever it is. Those can still be interesting things that you can do, you know. Or let's read a book together. You know, I don't recommend watching a movie because the movie takes all the attention and does the talking. And to be honest, when I'm watching a movie, I don't want anybody talking to me during the movie because I want to pay attention to the movie. A lot of people go for movies and those things. I don't think that's one of the ones I recommend. But find things to make life more interesting.
Right, thank you. And as you were talking, I was thinking that, you know, for those of us who have a backyard or a back porch, or front porch for that matter, you know, you draw out one big sheet or something, spread it out, and just carry some, whether it's going to be food or whatever it is, some games, whatever, and just change the scene. So just do something different. You can sit out there and eat popcorns or eat banana chips and play some games, or, you know, do something. Just, you know, you can decide that, okay, guess what, I'm going to make something. I'm going to make a special dessert for this person. And just do something, make a surprise. Get a little costume, put on some costumes.
To say that sometimes you have children and the children might seem to intervene, but you can plan these things with the children, games with the children too. And so we don't have to make excuse that because we have children we can't do these things. You can find creative ways to involve the children as well.
Thank you for that, Don.
Yeah. But one of the things that, well, like, I mean, I love to play. And so playing is one of the things that really appeals to me. But there is something else that I'm actually thinking about. You know, men can do some things that women can't do. I think one of the things that maybe the men could do, maybe vice versa too. You're good at something, just show me, just kind of introduce me to it. Tell me you want to teach me this thing, you see? Because I'm going to make a profession out of it. But show me that it can really enhance my life. And you're not going to be too hard on me if I make mistakes. So, you know, like a man can drive. His wife wants to learn to drive. But they often say, don't let your husband teach you to drive. And because sometimes really they can be so impatient or whatever. I don't know what else. But They say don't do it. When in fact, really, your husband should be in a position to do it, because he should really want to get you to learn and do everything that's possible. So I think that men can start introducing. I think I would like that too. I would enjoy that too. Where, I want to teach you this thing. I want to teach you this thing. Not that you have to keep doing it, but I'm gonna teach you. Because sometimes we are in we have our schedule, and it's just like you come home from work, you do this, that, you just have this routine. But maybe if sometimes you feel like somebody is helping you to make the time for something else, just help you to make the time, and we do that to each other. I know something that I would want to help. I would want my husband to learn this thing, and I say, well, I know it's tight, but I want to teach. I want to show you just a little bit of it. And so maybe when we get to understand a bit of what the other person can do, it might bring the minds together a little bit more. Maybe it just might pique your interest and ask for a little bit more. I enjoy that, and I would want to know a little bit more. I don't know. I just think that is something that I would find interesting too.
All right, and yeah. So the point that you are making is do things that will put a little bit of fun, a little bit of joy, a little bit of excitement in your relationship. So surprise your partner with something that they love. It might be their favorite ice cream. It might be just a something she likes. It might be just a flower. As I gave the story some time ago of this man who, he felt a little bit put off about something that had happened the morning before. And when I suggested that he bought a rose, he said he walked all the way down, didn't get one, and he went all the way back up to get one rose. He didn't really have any money. And when he brought it home, and he held it behind him initially, and then he da 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 in front of her, and it was a surprise for her, and she was so excited. And of course, he said to me, "You should have been the fly on the wall." I think just that little act, would have put a little thrill in her heart at that point in time. So it just surprised him with, and of course, he knew that she loved flowers. So surprise your partner with something that he or she really loves, and it can be very, very simple. Um, just bring home something, a favorite of something. It might be just a chocolate that she likes. Bring that home. Make some a special dish if the person really likes, and just hang out together, just sitting beside each other. It might be just anywhere. It might be, darling, a long time we not go to the beach. I could drive over El Shano, or I could drive go down St. Anne, and just pack a little basket. Even if you don't have money, you don't have to go down there go buy fish and bami or fish and festival. You can walk with your own little basket. Send an email or send a WhatsApp asking him or her on a date, probably with a list of restaurants, or takeaway, or in a little food place based on what your pocket can afford to choose from. But just say hi. Can we go together? Can we go to XYZ? Which of these places you prefer? A, B, C, D, whatever. And I'm sure that he or she will really appreciate it. Just leave a note somewhere. You can leave it on the windscreen. You can leave it in the lunch bag. You can leave it on the kitchen counter. You can leave it on the bed. You can leave it somewhere the person is going to find it. Just any little note. I love you. I always want to be with you. You are the best person. Where have you been all my life? Just something nice. Just something that is going to just lighten the heart of the person. So there are things that we can do, and I'm sure that we have creative people among us. All of us are creative to some extent. We can come up with some ideas to make the person feel excited and just to make the relationship a little bit more exciting. Okay? Right. I don't know if anyone else has anything else that they would like to add in terms of, getting out of the rut of boredom. So the next thing that we said would actually cause the relationship to kind of, wear away so that people start to think about leaving is um, the negativity. And Ted was very emphatic that nothing eats away at him more than negativity. Um, and Erica was saying, how can you be positive to someone who is cheating on you? So, but negativity can actually cause a person to really go outside to get a little break. So, negativity said that negativity takes a trust and intimacy like a chainsaw. Mm. So negativity includes anything that feels bad, like insults. And I was saying to somebody this morning that we were somehow programmed a particular way to talk to people. In our culture, we talk to people sometimes and you don't really think of it as insult, but you have to become more sensitive now as to how people would feel when you say certain things to them. So if we always say things to people that make them feel insulted, make them feel judged, you mock at them, you're sarcastic, you give them the silent treatment, you're just emotionally indifferent, as we said earlier, that they may be upset and you just pretend that you don't even really see. You see that they are just out of it, they probably look very sad, and you may even see them crying, and you just, what does she know? Always depend on something. And you just pretend that you don't even see. All of that is just negativity. And of course, just saying bad things, negative things about the person, all of that can just eat away at the relationship. So, what can we do if we are doing that to fix this? Because if you have been doing that, it's just stopping is going to take a long time. What are some of the things that we can do to really fix that situation if that is what you're already doing and you realize that your partner really having this thought, because you can see it, or if you are feeling this way, what is it that you can do to help with the negativity or to defray the negativity situation? So before I take any of the hand, let me just say something here. Studies have shown that a healthy relationship needs 3 positive emotions to counter every negative emotion. And it needs 5 positive verbal and emotional expressions to counter every negative expression. So when you have given 1 negative expression, you need about 5 positive verbal or emotional expression to counter that one. So, as I said, it's not just good enough. It's a good start, but it is not enough to say, okay, well, I didn't, from yesterday, I not say nothing bad to her. Or from Monday, we not really say anything negative to him. What are you now doing to really build up the relationship when you realize that, as a matter of fact, I've really been not careful as to what I say and how I do things to my partner. And I really have been negative. I've been really pulling them down. What can we do? What can we say? And the last one that I'm going to touch on, I mean, there are others, but these are the main ones. The last one is loss of physical intimacy. And physical intimacy is more than sex, and it helps to hold the relationship together. It includes any form of physical touch, example, touching his back as he walks past, playing with her hair as you sit and watch TV, or you just sit beside each other, or just, just simply touching in a non-sexual way. It doesn't need to be in a sexual way. And research indicates that non-sexual intimacy is key to long-term happiness in a relationship, research has found that humans have an innate ability to interpret emotional messages via touch alone. In a 2009 study, blindfolded people were able to correctly interpret 8 distinct emotions: anger, fear, disgust, love, gratitude, sympathy, happiness, sadness, solely through the touch of a stranger with 78% accuracy. So, touch is very important. We probably don't have to say much on it because it is obvious what it is. And when you are, you know, connected with someone, it's very easy. I suppose it's not that easy sometimes to touch, but just getting in the habit of, just with the hair, through the ears, chips on the cheek, all of those are um, non-sexual physical touch. And I know that we have done many sessions that talk about, sexual touch. So just to underscore the importance of physical intimacy or physical touch. Just to say, even the strongest relationships have their highs and lows. Being with someone means being attentive and being involved, and this takes constant effort. But what a beautiful reward when it works. Don't be fooled by the fairy tales. Perhaps they all come with happy endings, but the love you want is one with no ending at all. And that will always take more effort than the flourish of a magic wand.
Always appreciate, the wise counsels. And it's really, for me, I mean, I just like hearing these things over and over and over because it's really, it's helping me. And I find that throughout the week, I remember these little things and, whatever I can put into practice. Yeah. So I really appreciate it, Marlene. Really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
coming and saying that.
Thank you. And I appreciate the participation. Thank you all for participating. I mean, it wouldn't have happened without your full participation. So I say thank you. And Ingrid has her hand up.
Yes, we're gonna say thank you to you again, but I don't think the program is finished because my brother is listening in and he has commendation for you and all of us, the whole group, for this. Let us give him a minute, Mr. Andre.
I
Hi,
well,
Andre.
I am
Hi, Andre.
eavesdropping. I am eavesdropping, So I was just saying to Ingrid that first of all, what you are all doing is fantastic, and I believe that it's empowering people and through knowledge. Um, and I also believe that, and I also made a comment that's a pity as somebody who has been in politics and government, that it's a pity that the churches are not united. Because if or maybe they are and I don't know, but if the churches were, then we really could develop some values and attitudes and teach relationships and family life in schools. I was saying to Ingrid a while ago, if you look at being a parent at her age now and experience, if she had her first child, that first child would have gotten a much better mother than when she was younger, because we learn a lot through our experiences. But being a good parent, you should go to university for it. So relationships is something we should teach our people about. You know, simple thing within Jamaica where we're having all these killings and fights and children fighting in schools. We have to teach our little toddlers from 0 to 6 how to fight, how to disagree, conflict resolution. So I think the church has a role to play somewhere in the future, and it's maybe something that you as a group can start thinking about and try and get all the churches to come together to do a national program of teaching values and attitudes. Now, on the background of saying that, and I'm not going to be long because there's a lot to say, but the background of that is where we're coming from as a people. And if you read and study what happened to our ancestors during slavery, and the system of division, the lack of family life, the lack of love, the lack of people could not have a relationship on the plantation. So you have disconnecting our enslaved ancestors from their history, from their family values, from their humanity. And nobody in the last 180 years after slavery has says, let us reconstruct or let us reintroduce family life to our people. So some of us learn it through exposure. Some of us learn it through experience. Some of us learn it like, oh, we are learning it here now and sharing with each other and so on. But it has to be a deliberate effort with churches, the government, and everybody coming together and say, look here, we have to reintroduce these values that we had before we came here as our ancestors were enslaved. So it's a real deep issue, and it requires a whole deeper conversation. But just wanted to share my few words with you to say, keep it up, and there's a whole lot more that should be done and can be done, and we have to pull together as a team and make it happen. So congratulations and keep up the good work. Remember years ago, the former prime minister did values and attitudes, and it never got any, it never took off because it was seen as a political thing. And I believe that maybe the prime minister then was PJ Patz. He should have used the church to introduce it and to promote it, fund the effort, and have the church promote it. And just I think there's a united group, council of churches or whatever. But get the different churches to go behind it and promote it as society values. Go into all basic schools. If you start teaching children the values and attitudes, how to fight, well, I call it how to fight, but conflict resolution, how to be, forgiving, how to say I'm sorry. People don't know these things. The moment somebody does something wrong, you're looking for a stone to lick them down. So if it's something like that, and you can get private sector to be involved with it because they're hungry for some group to anchor, and if a program like this to train the next generation in with the kind of values that we need. And most of these positive values are based in Christianity. So it's something you should really think about. And the final thing I want to say is try to get some young people. Maybe sometimes we're singing to the choir, we share and learn from each other. But some young people out there need the help bad. But maybe how you promote the programs, how you package it, it might seem, very boring and whatever, but they need it, you see. So you need to probably look at how do I promote these programs, make it look exciting and so on. And maybe even get some of their peers, popular guys and ladies who are popular with the young people to come in and voice their thing, and then you know, try to get their attention so that they can listen, because there's a lot of people out there who need this kind of knowledge and support. So good luck, and again, congratulations.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, thank you. And I got some ideas from something he said. We will share that in our meeting. So thank you all for participating, for listening in. Those who listened, that was wonderful. This was a great evening, a great presentation. Marlene, we thank you as our guest presenter. You are awesome. And I just want to encourage everybody to check on the YouTube channel as well and share it.